How did your appointment go?
Very well, thank you. We're just leaving it now. I've just been in to see I really like my prosthetist, John. He's an ace chap. He's a young chap, and yeah, cheerful, lovely. Like him very much. And he's measured me. It doesn't take very long. How long's in there?
Not long at all.
Half an hour.
That.
And in that time, he measures me with a tape measure and
Your leg, not all of you.
yeah. Sorry, just my stump, just the below my knee, the little bit I've got below my knee. That gets measured with a tape measure, and then also a handheld scanner that gets scanned to get all my lumps and bumps, bits and bobs, and then that'll be sent off to somewhere. I'm not sure where. And
Don't they do it all there?
oh, maybe that's what I mean. But you know, somebody else then gets hold of that. Maybe John does, I'm not 100% sure. And then they make a new socket, which is the bit that my leg fits in. So then that comes back and it should fit perfectly because it's been scanned. And then it gets tweaked. I come back in a couple of weeks' time and then have a test socket. So I stand in a jig and see if there are any pressure points, if it feels comfy. It's a little bit of an inexact science because, you know, there's a lot of fleshy bits involved, so it's not quite as simple as just scanning it and making it. It's then got to be comfortable for me to wear it, and that's where their skills come in, because that's what they do then, is make it as comfy as possible for me by some jiggery pokery from the test socket.
Yeah, so it's not just putting your leg into the socket, is it? There's support points.
Yeah.
Like for your knee, under your kneecap, and the sides of your knee.
Yeah, you take the weight of your body not where you think. You think you take it on the bottom of your stump, you know, but you don't. You take it on your knee and on the side of the knee. I think I should know because I'm wearing it. But yeah, that's
it's an ill-fitting one. When that happens, then you tend to fall right into your stump and into your socket. So then the water pressure is on the very end.
yeah, which is what is happening to me at the moment. Yeah, that's quite. It's not. Yeah, it is uncomfortable. I can't bring myself to say it's painful because I don't think it's worthy of the word pain, but it's definitely uncomfortable because you're taking the weight on the bottom of the sawn-off bone, then, and that's uncomfortable.
And more so because what did you do? You've given yourself caused myodesis.
So okay, so when the surgeon takes the leg off, he uses the back of your calf muscle. I'm not a surgeon, although I have had a go. And he uses the back of your calf muscle and brings it up and over the end of your sawn off bone, stitches it all in place and does all clever stuff to it. And then that protects the bone, gives you extra padding, all that clever stuff. And I've pulled mine off in the very early days. Like I'm talking like the first day, the second day, the third day after the operation. I was told to move the muscle around because they didn't want the muscle to stick to the bone.
To manipulate the end.
Yeah, to manipulate it.
All sort of set.
Yeah, and it seemed very important to sort of like, you don't want it all of the raw bits to gum up and scab up and mould together, otherwise it all gets jammed. You need it all nice and movie while it sets, while it all gets into space and stuff. Anyway, so I was told to sort of like just be, you know, get in there and manipulate it, but me being stupid and being thorough, yeah, very thorough and all or nothing, I didn't realise it at the time, but I was manipulating it too hard, and it seems like I'd like to blame everyone else, but I really can't, because I in my brain, and I could be wrong, I feel I did this, and I think what I did is going to sound horrible. I think I ripped all of the stitches out of the beautifully folded up muscles. I think I just tore all of that out with my stupid fat fingers, and yeah, ripped it all apart basically. So now I've got a slight problem. It's not holding me back. Slight problem where that muscle then is falling off of the front of my leg and hangs like a sack of mouldy old plums off the back of my leg. So it's actually doing nothing. It's not protecting the end of my bone. it's actually causing a slight complication for John, who's trying to do a wonderful job for me and get everything as comfortable as he can. But what I've done is exposed a bony front to my sawn off bit of bone and left all this hanging useful stuff that should have been around the front of that hanging at the side. Yes. So that's what that's about. So that's
So it's not painful, is it? That actual what you've done, it just doesn't work in your legs so well.
There is talk of having. I'm sorry. There's talk. I've been to see a surgeon who's an army surgeon actually, but does work for the NHS. It's to do an operation, a revision they call it, where he'll re-stitch it all for me and put it all back as it should be. But to do that, they need to take off another, I think it was 2 centimetres of the bone, which is essentially, it sounds like an odd thing. So my first amputation, sorry, was that they obviously sawed off my foot, chucked the foot in the bin.
Which you desperately wanted to keep.
Yeah, I really wanted to keep my foot.
Hard.
Yeah,
to make that happen.
Ton especially tried hard. I wanted to keep the. That sounds horrible, but yeah, it's not gonna, you know, I'm not in any emotional pain, but I'm slightly, bugger, couldn't keep my bone.
And the fact that you weren't allowed to keep it made it into more of an issue, didn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Like, why not? It's your foot.
But anyway, some people do, some people don't.
What did you want to do?
I would imagine most people don't want to keep it. What?
You didn't want the whole foot, you wanted the bones, you wanted the skeleton bit.
Yeah, I wanted to have it
together.
I wanted to have it deep. My plan, well, it wasn't really a plan, it was just like, that's going to be a leftover bit, and it's my foot, which I've been through a lot with, because the incident that caused my damage was back in the 90s, and me and that foot went through literal, in my mind, hell together, trying to survive, run a business, live a social life and everything else. And it was bloody painful all the time, never not painful. When I was resting, it was painful. It was painful. It was a broken ankle that never healed. So there's all these bits of bones all falling apart and in there rattling around. And they tried to screw it back together and that failed. Instead of sitting on my bum and keeping my leg up for years, or using a wheelchair, I carried on working because I run my own business and I got to pay my taxes. And so anyway, we've been through hell together, so I'd like to have kept that foot, because even though it was my pain and my problem, it forged who I am in many ways. And so the plan was to keep it, have it defleshed, and I wasn't going to do it myself on the cooker top, but have it defleshed, pay for that, a taxidermist or something, and then have the remains of it put back to, pinned back together. And I don't know what I'd done, really put it in a case and kept it on the mantelpiece, probably.
A talking point, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would, because when people come, because I could have dreamt of the day then when people said, "Oh my God, I didn't realise you've lost your foot." Then I could have said, "Aha! No, there it is," and it would have been well worth it just for that.
Yeah, and it's yours. It seems like an easy thing to achieve in America, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
But just not here.
Yeah. So that's gone now. I think I would imagine within hours of, it's probably being incinerated. So I'm a bit sad about that. I think that's a shortcoming actually of the whole thing, is that it would seem like a grotesque and ridiculous thing. Hang on, let's do a bit of a hairpin turn. A bit of a grotesque thing to most people to say, we're going to amputate your foot tomorrow. Do you realise we're in IKEA at 9:20 and they don't open until 10?
I do. I just realised that.
Cup of tea?
Cup of tea. Run out of coffee.
Oh, yeah, we've got tea though, haven't we?
We do.
It would seem like a really grotesque thing to ask someone, what do you want to do with your leftover foot? But to me, if I'd have had that option, I didn't have the option, and I already had asked, and that was, I want to keep it. But yeah, I think everybody should be given that option, just because it might be important to them. It's part of your body, you might want to keep it. But then at the same time, you have your wisdom teeth taken out.
I kept all mine.
Yeah, I think I kept mine.
I got all mine to be.
I actually, when I was a kid, when I used to fall over and get like a 6-week scab on my knees.
Oh God, you didn't.
What?
You didn't keep your scabs, did you?
I did used to.
Did you actually keep your scabs?
I believe that I did. No.
I bet you still got them, haven't you? They'll be in a tin somewhere.
When I make a bolognese. Find place.
Say the name of the place.
High Bridge.
Did you say which?
No.
Say the name of the place.
High Bridge.
Did you say Tynehead Village?
No, I didn't say Tynehead Village. No. Back.
Say the name of the place.
High Bridge.
Searching for range. Select a line.
Rage. Yeah, that's appropriate. I went the wrong way, I missed the junction